So this week my plan was to get the rest of the cold weather crops that I have growing inside out into the ground. This was Monday night after work. My father-in-law was actually supposed to come over this weekend to help me till the garden up, but I couldn't help myself and I got started on a section of it. I did my best to prep this area by disturbing the surface of the dirt with my hand tiller. I think it's really supposed to be used for weed control, but it worked well for what I was trying to accomplish. And then I took a pitchfork and tried to break up the ground a bit. That way the area wouldn't get bogged down with water if it were to rain. It had somewhere to kind of drain off to in the ground. Then I laid my weed fabric back down for now because I'm not sure whether I want to continue gardening with it or without it this year. All of the grass that was previously here should be completely dead after having it covered for a year, but I want to see how the tilled up areas fare for a couple weeks before I make my decision. My plan is to till it up one more time before planting after my father-in-law tills it. His tiller is good at breaking up the big chunks of clay that are in our soil, and our tiller is good for getting already broke up dirt a little bit finer. Next, I got my drill and attachment out here so I could drill some holes in the ground. Since I was reusing a piece of fabric from last year that already had the holes burned in it where I needed, this process did go a lot faster than if I was starting with a piece of fabric that didn't have any holes. Sometimes I wonder what the neighbors must think when they look out their window and see me sweeping my garden with a broom, but this works really well to keep all that dirt from compacting on top of the tarp.
Look, the little baby beets are up. They're so cute. I got some right here, a couple over here, and some of the peas are coming up too. I got a pea right there coming up, and a pea right here, and over here. So it was definitely exciting. Nothing on the carrots yet. I uncovered them for a day and they dried out too much, so I covered them back up in hopes that something will still come up if I keep it moist for the next couple of days. So we'll see. I don't think I ever went over exactly what I got planted here. I've got some what looked like kale, the seeds did, but now it's coming up. It doesn't really look like kale anymore. I'm not really sure what it is. So we'll see. I've got some mystery plants, mystery brassicas. I've got some Dutch cabbage, red cabbage, some romaine lettuce. That's an experiment to try. I'm going to try romaine lettuce in the ground. And I also have some romaine lettuce in the bed. And then I also have some on my green stalk. We have some broccoli and cauliflower. So we'll see how all of this does out in the ground. I haven't grown these out in the ground ever. I did grow some last year in the green stalk and they did okay. They just didn't get very big. So I'm hoping that this year it'll get bigger. And I've actually never grown cauliflower. I did grow some broccoli, but it was Chinese broccoli that didn't get very big. The heads on it don't really head very big, so it did fine. Hi, honey. Hi, sweetie. Oh, God. Now I'm just going to get these watered in, and I'm going to water the bed as well. And this weekend, what we're doing is we're going to be pulling up all the chicken wire that we have around the edge of our garden and laying down some weed fabric, so that way we don't have to weed eat around this every week. And also we'll be pulling up a lot of this fabric out here, and my father-in-law is actually coming over and tilling this for us. And then we will get some of the fabric put back down, and then I might try to experiment with a couple of rows doing some grass clippings as mulch. We'll see how that goes in a couple rows, just to kind of experiment with that and see if that's a viable thing to be using as mulching, because we get a lot of grass clippings out here. And I did try it last year along the fence and it worked pretty well, but I don't know if like the grass breaking down would have any effect on like lettuce or onions growing or anything like that, but we can always try it and see.
This part was a little difficult to get started at first. I had to kind of pull away at the grass to reveal where I needed to pull the chicken wire up, but once I got a decent chunk of it pulled up, the rest of it pulled up quite easy, and I did notice that a lot of it had rusted and was deteriorating pretty bad. I mean, I don't know how much longer this would have lasted without just completely dissolving in the ground. So I'm glad that I did get it digged up, so at least I know about how long chicken wire will last buried in the ground like that. I think in the future I would like to find a different solution whenever we do have to go re-fence this garden in eventually. We were able to get about 80% of this side of the garden tarped before we decided to call it a day, because we had thoroughly worn ourselves out by this point. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Thanks.